The mind is a restless ocean. It moves, it swirls, it crashes against the shores of desire. Most people spend their lives caught in its current, constantly chasing the next wave, the next goal, the next sign that they are finally getting closer. Yet the deeper truth is far simpler and far more mysterious. Reality doesn't bend to effort. It bends to energy. And energy obeys only one law: resonance. There's a quiet paradox hidden in every manifestation journey. The moment you stop trying so hard to make something happen, the moment you release the tension of needing it, that's when things begin to shift. You've felt it before, haven't you? The text that came when you finally stopped checking your phone. The opportunity that appeared the day you stopped obsessing over your plan. It almost feels unfair, like the universe rewards you when you stop caring. But it isn't unfair, it's physics on a spiritual level. Attachment is invisible. It hides behind your intentions, disguising itself as passion, ambition, and drive. But underneath, it hums with fear. The fear of losing something that hasn't yet arrived, the fear of being incomplete without it. When that vibration of lack dominates your energy field, your manifestations get tangled in resistance. You can meditate, visualize, or affirm all you want, but if the emotional core is still, "I don't have it yet," the universe hears that frequency and responds accordingly. It's not your fault. You were raised in a world that glorifies effort, hustle, and control. You were taught that outcomes are earned through doing, through pushing, through proving your worth. So when you step into the spiritual world and hear phrases like, "let go," or "trust the universe," your mind rebels. It asks, "How can I not care about what I want?" It sounds like nonsense because your nervous system has been conditioned to equate control with safety. But here's the truth: the universe doesn't speak the language of control, it speaks the language of surrender. Imagine you are standing in front of a river. The water flows effortlessly, carrying leaves, reflections, and light downstream. You want to experience the current, but instead of stepping in, you start trying to grab the water with your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips away. Only when you open your palms does the river fill them freely. That is what detachment feels like. It's not apathy. It's receptivity. Most people confuse detachment with not caring. But in reality, detachment is the purest form of faith. It's the vibration of knowing that what you seek is already seeking you. It's walking through life with the inner calm of someone who understands that energy responds to alignment, not desperation. When you detach, you send a powerful signal to the universe: "I trust you. I am open. I am ready." And in that state, the energy that once felt stuck begins to move. You've likely experienced moments of this without realizing it. Those effortless times when life just flowed, when you weren't overthinking, when you weren't clinging to a timeline, when things just worked out. Those weren't coincidences. They were reflections of your alignment. You were detached, free from resistance, and so energy obeyed you naturally. But why is detachment so difficult to maintain? Because the ego thrives on control. It tells you that if you stop thinking about your desire, it will disappear. It whispers that if you let go, you'll lose your chance. Yet the opposite is true. Detachment is not letting go of your dream, it's letting go of your fear around it. It's surrendering the outcome, not abandoning the vision. You still hold the desire in your heart, but lightly, like a feather, not a stone. As you listen to these words, take a deep breath. Feel the subtle weight of all the things you've been holding on to: expectations, worries, timelines, old disappointments. Now imagine releasing them just for a moment. Notice the quiet that follows. In that quiet, your energy begins to recalibrate. It softens, expands, and opens space for something new to enter. This is the energy of creation, not through force but through flow. When you detach, you stop fighting with life. You stop trying to make energy obey you through control, and instead, you become the still point that energy orbits around. It's as if the universe leans closer, waiting for your next calm intention. The world around you begins to mirror your peace. Opportunities arise from unexpected corners. People show up at the right time. Feels like magic, but it's actually alignment. The purpose of this journey is not to stop wanting, but to start trusting. To remember that the universe already knows the path, already holds the blueprint. Your only task is to release the resistance that blocks its unfolding. The moment you detach, you shift from being a seeker of energy to being its master. And that's when energy finally starts to obey you. For most of your life, you've been taught that control equals safety. You've been told that if you plan carefully, push harder, and keep your focus fixed on what you want, life will reward you. And sometimes it seems to work, at least for a while. But beneath the surface, there's a deeper truth that most people never discover. The very act of trying to control life is what keeps you trapped in resistance. Energy cannot obey you while you are gripping it too tightly. Think about the times you've tried to force something to happen. A relationship, a goal, a specific outcome. You planned every detail, you imagined every scenario, and yet, no matter how hard you pushed, the situation seemed to slip further away. That's because control is born from fear. The fear that if you stop holding on, everything will fall apart. But the universe doesn't operate on fear. It flows on trust, rhythm, and alignment. The more you chase it, the faster it runs. The more you let it be, the closer it comes. This is the illusion of control, the belief that your mental and emotional effort can bend the universe to your will. But manifestation doesn't happen through tension, it happens through resonance. Energy responds to the frequency you hold, not the force you apply. When your inner world is filled with anxiety, impatience, or obsession, that vibration sends a message to reality, one that says, I don't have what I want yet. And reality mirrors that feeling back to you again and again. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. The more tightly you squeeze, the faster it escapes between your fingers. The moment you relax your grip, the water stays. This is how energy behaves. It resists control but responds to openness. When you let go of the need to micromanage your life, your vibration rises naturally. You move from a frequency of fear to one of flow, and energy begins to follow your command effortlessly. The need for control is deeply human. It's built into your biology. Your brain is designed to predict outcomes, to avoid danger, to seek certainty. In ancient times, that instinct kept you alive. But in the realm of manifestation, that same instinct becomes your biggest block. The spiritual path requires a different kind of intelligence, one that trusts uncertainty instead of fighting it. To manifest at the quantum level, you must learn to be comfortable not knowing how or when something will happen, yet believe that it already is. Control is the ego's favorite illusion. The ego whispers, if I can control everything, then I will be safe. But safety doesn't come from control, it comes from connection. Connection to your higher self, to the universe, to the unseen intelligence that orchestrates everything. When you try to take the universe's job into your own hands, you cut off that connection. You isolate yourself inside your own mind, trapped in loops of overthinking, analysis, and doubt. This is why attachment feels heavy. Every time you obsess over when something will manifest, you are creating energetic friction. You are sending mixed signals, a vibration of I want it tangled with I'm afraid I won't get it. That mixed frequency confuses your reality. Energy becomes unstable around you because your emotional broadcast keeps changing. To the universe you sound like static, not a clear command. The truth is the universe already knows your desires. The moment you think of something with emotion and belief, that energy is registered in the field of creation. But the outcome can only crystallize when your vibration matches it. If you hold fear, impatience, or control, your signal is blocked. Detachment removes the interference. It says to the universe, I trust the process. I'm aligned. I'm not chasing. I'm allowing. And in that space, creation begins to unfold naturally. Let's look at this from a quantum perspective. In quantum theory, particles exist in a state of potential until they are observed. Energy collapses into form only when attention meets intention. But if your attention is full of tension, if you are observing with worry or attachment, you are creating distortion in the field. You're not allowing the wave to collapse clearly. Detachment, therefore, is the energetic equivalent of pure observation, a state of calm awareness that allows the universe to organize itself without interference. From a psychological point of view, this also makes perfect sense. When you are attached, your nervous system goes into survival mode. You start producing cortisol and adrenaline, stress hormones that tell your body you are in danger. This state of contraction blocks creativity, intuition, and flow. But when you release control, your body relaxes. Your parasympathetic system activates. Your intuition sharpens, your creativity opens, and your energy becomes magnetic. In other words, detachment aligns your biology with your spirituality. You might ask, if I don't control, how will I make things happen? The answer is, you don't make them happen, you let them happen. Control is effort. Detachment is influence. One comes from fear, the other from power. When you control, you're trying to force the universe into your limited plan. When you detach, you invite the universe to surprise you, to show you possibilities your logical mind couldn't imagine. Imagine two people planting seeds. One digs up the soil every day, checking if the seed has sprouted, worrying that it's not growing fast enough. The other plants the seed, waters it, and trusts the process. Both took action, but only one aligned with natural timing. The first seed never grows because its energy was constantly disturbed. The second thrives because it was allowed to unfold in peace. This is how energy works. It needs your faith more than your force. The illusion of control keeps you small. It keeps you trapped in cycles of frustration where you keep asking, why isn't this working? But when you step back, when you breathe and release the urge to force outcomes, you realize something profound. The universe was never withholding anything from you. It was simply waiting for you to stop pushing against your own energy. The moment you let go of the illusion of control, a shift happens. Life begins to respond faster, smoother, and with more harmony. You notice synchronicities, opportunities, and signs appearing with uncanny timing. Things you once struggled for begin to flow toward you. It's not magic, it's alignment. Energy has always been listening, but now it finally understands your command because you've stopped shouting and started resonating. This is where the true path of manifestation begins, not in obsession, not in control, but in the quiet space of allowing. The more you let go, the more power you actually gain. Detachment becomes the bridge between desire and creation. Because once you see through the illusion of control, you no longer chase energy, you attract it. Detachment is one of the most misunderstood concepts in spirituality. When people first hear the phrase, let go, they often mistake it for giving up, as if detachment means abandoning your goals, ignoring your desires, or pretending you no longer care. But true detachment is not disinterest, it's mastery. It is the quiet knowing that what you desire is already on its way, and your only task is to align with its vibration. Detachment is not coldness, it's trust in motion. It's the art of holding a vision so clearly in your energy that you no longer need to hold it in your mind. To understand the power of detachment, imagine your desire as an arrow. You pull it back with intention, your focus, your energy, your visualization, but at some point you must release it. The release is where most people struggle. They hold on too long, checking if the arrow is flying in the right direction, doubting its aim, or fearing it might miss. Yet it is in the release that manifestation happens. Without the release, the arrow never flies. Without detachment, energy never moves. Detachment allows energy to obey because it creates space, the most sacred ingredient in creation. When your vibration is crowded with worry, need, and mental noise, the universe cannot find room to deliver your manifestation. Detachment clears that space. It tells the universe, I've done my part. Now I allow you to do yours. That simple energetic shift transforms everything. You stop chasing and instead you become magnetic. From a quantum point of view, detachment is what collapses possibilities into form. In the quantum field, infinite versions of reality exist simultaneously. Every possible outcome is real, waiting to be observed into being. But observation is not the same as control. Observation, in its purest form, is presence without resistance. When you hold a vibration of calm expectation, without anxiety or impatience, you allow the quantum field to align with your desired frequency. The moment you detach, you become the observer who commands energy effortlessly, not through struggle but through coherence. Detachment is also an emotional practice. It means you no longer let external outcomes determine your inner peace. You no longer say, I'll be happy when it happens. You decide to be happy now, knowing that happiness itself is the magnet that draws your desire closer. The emotional frequency of detachment is not numbness, it's serenity. It's waking up and saying, everything is working out even if I can't yet see how. That energy tells the universe that your trust is unconditional, and unconditional trust always manifests miracles. Ancient wisdom has always known this truth. The Taoists called it Wu Wei, effortless action. The Stoics called it apatheia, inner calm that remains undisturbed by external chaos. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches that one must act without attachment to results. All of these teachings point to the same universal law: the less you cling, the more you receive. Detachment is not the absence of intention, it is the perfection of intention. There is a subtle but powerful difference between wanting and knowing. Wanting vibrates lack, knowing vibrates fulfillment. When you want something, your energy says, it's not here yet. When you know something is coming, your energy says, it's already mine. Detachment moves you from wanting to knowing. You still hold your vision, but your heart is at peace. You've stopped questioning the timing. You've stopped needing to know every step. You've entered the frequency of trust, and in that vibration, energy begins to rearrange itself to serve you. From a psychological perspective, detachment rewires your brain. When you stop obsessing over an outcome, your mind moves from a beta wave state, focused and anxious, into alpha and theta, relaxed, intuitive, and open. These are the frequencies of creation, the same states artists, musicians, and inventors enter when inspiration flows. That's not coincidence. Detachment literally shifts your neurology to align with creativity and higher intelligence. It is in this calm, expanded state that solutions, insights, and synchronicities begin to appear effortlessly. To truly detach, you must shift your relationship with time. Time in the human mind feels linear, cause and effect step by step. But energy operates in the now. The version of you who already has what you desire exists in this very moment, in a parallel vibration. When you detach, you stop living from the timeline of waiting and step into the vibration of already having. This is why spiritual teachers often say, act as if. Acting as if is not pretending, it's matching the frequency of your fulfilled reality. When you think, feel, and act from that state, you merge timelines. You collapse the gap between who you are and who you want to be. The practice of detachment is both simple and profound. It begins with awareness, noticing when you are holding on too tightly. Every time you catch yourself worrying, checking for signs, or doubting the process, pause. Breathe. Feel the weight of that attachment in your body, the tension in your chest, the racing thoughts. Then gently release it. You might even whisper, I trust. This tiny act signals your subconscious mind to relax, and your energy begins to shift instantly. It's also helpful to replace attachment with gratitude. Gratitude grounds you in the now. It reminds you that you are already abundant, already supported, already surrounded by blessings. When you focus on what's already here, you align with the frequency of having rather than wanting. The more you dwell in that state, the faster your manifestations arrive, because your energy field starts broadcasting a message of completion instead of lack. Detachment is also about emotional maturity. It's realizing that your peace is too valuable to trade for the illusion of control. It's choosing to respond to life rather than react to it. When something doesn't go your way, you don't spiral into fear. You pause and say, there's something better aligning. That statement alone can redirect your entire vibration. You become unshakable, calm in uncertainty, confident in timing, and open to the unseen paths the universe may choose. This state of energetic mastery changes everything. When you detach, people sense your confidence. Opportunities are drawn to your stillness. You start to notice how easily situations resolve when you don't interfere. It feels as though life is moving around you but through you, like the current of a river that knows exactly where it's flowing. You're no longer paddling against the current. You've learned to float with it, trusting that it will carry you exactly where you're meant to go. There's one more truth about detachment that often goes unspoken. It's not a single act. It's a daily practice. You may have to detach again and again, from fears, from outcomes, from timelines. Each time you do, your vibration refines a little more. You become lighter, freer, and more aligned. Eventually, detachment stops feeling like something you do and becomes something you are. You move through life with the quiet authority of someone who knows that energy listens, reality responds, and manifestation is no longer about chasing. It's about allowing. The power of detachment is that it transforms your very identity. You stop identifying as the struggler, the seeker, the one waiting for change. You become the creator, the observer, the one through whom energy naturally flows. And when that shift happens, when you no longer reach outward but radiate inward, that's when energy starts to obey. You are no longer asking the universe to deliver, you are embodying the frequency that commands it. Detachment is not the end of your desire. It is the beginning of your mastery. When you finally reach the stage of detachment, something powerful begins to happen. The energy starts moving on its own. You stop forcing outcomes and begin to allow them. The universe, which once felt distant and unpredictable, suddenly feels like an extension of you. You start realizing that manifestation isn't about control, it's about surrender. The more you let go of needing to know how things will unfold, the more effortlessly they begin to align. Detachment isn't about not caring. It's about trusting. It's the awareness that your desire is already alive in the unseen, already taking form in the energetic realm. You don't chase anymore because you understand that chasing means it's still outside of you. When you detach, you declare that it's already done. That vibration of calm certainty sends the clearest signal to the universe, a signal of faith rather than fear. You begin to notice small signs first, synchronicities, coincidences, a sense of ease replacing tension. Life starts to feel guided instead of chaotic. The right opportunities come at the right time, and the people you need appear effortlessly. You no longer fight against the current, you move with it. This is the moment when you realize that energy has always obeyed you. It was only waiting for you to stop commanding it from a place of lack. The beauty of detachment is that it transforms your entire state of being. You shift from overthinking to simply being. You no longer need constant confirmation because your inner peace becomes the proof. You understand that your energy is the blueprint of your reality, and once it's aligned, everything outside naturally rearranges itself to match. In this space of surrender, you start creating from love instead of fear, from wholeness instead of need. You begin to walk through life lighter, freer, more certain. You stop rushing divine timing because you know that what's meant for you will never pass you by. This is where energy begins to truly obey you, not because you force it but because you've become one with it. When you reach the final stage of your journey, the point where energy begins to move on its own, you realize that the entire process was never about control. It was about surrender. The path of manifestation, of alignment, of spiritual awakening, all lead to one truth. Energy doesn't obey force, it responds to freedom. When you finally stop trying to make things happen, you open the space for them to unfold naturally. You begin to witness reality shift, not because you pushed it, but because you aligned with the frequency where it was already done. In this state of awareness, you stop living in reaction to your external world. The noise fades. The endless checking, waiting, doubting, it disappears. You realize the universe was never testing your patience, it was teaching you trust. Detachment is not about indifference, nor is it about losing desire. It's about transmuting desire into knowing. You no longer chase the thing, you become the thing. You no longer say, I want this. Instead, your energy whispers, I am this. And that subtle shift from wanting to being is where creation takes place. You might look back at your old self, the one who was constantly overthinking, worrying, scripting every move, and feel compassion. That version of you didn't know that the energy was already listening. You don't have to shout into the void for the universe to hear you. Every vibration you emit, every emotion you embody, is a command in the energetic field. When you detach, you move from noise to clarity. You begin to speak in the language of stillness, and the universe responds immediately. The more you embody this awareness, the more life starts aligning effortlessly. Opportunities appear without struggle. People come into your life at divine timing. You stop questioning how things will unfold because deep within, you know they already have. The detachment becomes a silent power, a magnetic field that draws your desires toward you without a word spoken. You start living in flow, and every moment feels guided, protected, and purposeful. You realize that your outer world has always been a reflection of your inner vibration. And as your energy stabilizes, reality begins to mirror that peace back to you. You also start to understand that true manifestation isn't about getting, it's about remembering. Remembering who you are before fear, before lack, before the illusion of separation. When you detach, you are returning home to your true self, the version of you that has never been desperate, never been incomplete. That self knows that abundance isn't something to chase, it's something to express. Love isn't something to seek, it's something to radiate. And peace isn't something you find, it's something you uncover when you stop resisting what already is. In this awareness, gratitude naturally flows through you. You stop waiting for blessings to appear before feeling thankful. You begin to feel thankful first, and that vibration creates the blessings. You become the source, the cause, the origin point of every miracle that unfolds. And the more you live from that energy, the more the universe bends to your frequency. It's no longer about hoping for signs, you become the sign. You are no longer seeking confirmation from the outside world, because everything within you is already confirming it. This is the secret behind detachment. It's not the act of letting go of desire, it's the realization that you already hold it. You stop asking the universe to deliver, and instead, you align yourself with what's already yours. You live in the end, as Neville Goddard would say, and that becomes your natural state. The waiting dissolves because there is nothing left to wait for. The universe rearranges itself around your calm certainty. And as this awareness deepens, you begin to walk differently, lighter, freer, more present. You trust that what is meant for you can never miss you, and what misses you was never meant for your frequency. You stop rushing divine timing. You stop comparing your path. You start to see that every delay, every redirection, was only bringing you closer to the perfect alignment. You begin to feel that you are co-creating not through effort but through ease. In the end, detachment reveals the ultimate paradox. When you stop trying to make energy obey you, it starts to do so effortlessly. Because obedience was never the point, resonance was. You no longer manipulate reality, you harmonize with it. You no longer chase energy, you become the vibration it naturally serves. And that is where true power begins, in the stillness, in the trust, in the knowing that your energy was never separate from the universe to begin with. When you detach, you don't lose control, you gain alignment. You don't give up, you rise above. You don't wait for the universe to move, You realize the universe was always moving through you. And from that realization, everything changes. Every cell, every thought, every outcome begins to flow in perfect rhythm with your highest self. That's when energy truly starts obeying you, not because it has to, but because it already is you.